welcome to Two Guys Talking AI podcast. My name is Kevin Jaskowiak, CMO of Unisense, and I'm joined by my good friend, as always, and CEO of Unisense, Bharat Vijay. How are you doing, Bharat, today?
Hey, Kevin. Great to be here and great to see the feedback from the last talk. But I'm really excited to introduce Anu Mahal. Um, and Anu, just very quickly, is an expert in fashion and fashion design. She ran the only fashion week that San Francisco's ever had, where actually Sabyasachi was part of that. And one of the most amazing things she's done is she's really tweaked our whole understanding of fashion AI. So she's been the human in the fashion AI, working with the artificial intelligence and guiding it in the way that it's really done wonders. So really glad to have Anu here.
Thank you.
Welcome, Anu. Well, Bharat, you kind of spilled the beans on what we're going to be talking about today, and today we're going to be talking about the effect and integration of AI in the fashion space. We've talked about retail, we've talked about travel, we've talked about grocery at a high level, we even talked about home delivery, and we're starting to see a pattern, and that's one of the things that we really wanted to show with Two Guys in AI, that regardless of the industry, the technology itself, A, should not be feared, and two, A and two, there you go. It has similar characteristics and benefit features in all industries. So I guess let me kick this off. I know in the recent years, the fashion industry, as many industries, have gone through a significant transformation. And really, what I want to do is I want to thank that to AI. I think this revolutionary technology that we call AI or artificial intelligence, you know, has not only disrupted kind of the traditional methods that the fashion industry or fashion world lives in and kind of works as, but it also opened up like huge worlds of possibility. What I want to do today is similar to what we've done in other podcasts, is that I want to dive deeper kind of into the impact of AI in the fashion industry, topics such as applications, the benefits, really how it's become a game changer for both consumers and businesses alike. So I knew, you've had, I mean, you're a leading person in the fashion world, so I'm going to start with you. And I guess let's start with the technology side of it. From your experience in the fashion world, or I guess industry, how do you see the introduction of kind of AI-powered fashion recommendations affecting the overall consumer experience?
Thank you so much, Kevin and Bharat, for inviting me here for this conversation. I'm super excited to see where the fashion world is going and how it is merging with AI. So one of the most noticeable changes brought by AI in the fashion industry is the highly personalized and accurate fashion recommendation. So it's like saving a lot of time for designers, for merchandisers because of that. And those days are also gone now, where you have to go through, hundreds or thousands of clothing items to find the perfect match. It just AI, solves this problem really fast. And I would also say that AI algorithms analyze user preferences, your past purchases, and even social media interactions to suggest outfits. And this can be on a personal level, and it can also be in a professional level, whether it's a big business or for an individual. It has made a
That's
very
great.
big difference.
That's a great point. And what I've noticed is that I think with this introduction of AI and this technology, now even when I go to a large retailer, no names mentioned, and I go to racks that are just like the old school, where it's just clothes after clothes after clothes, and you're just flipping with that, like the going through the card catalog at the old library, trying to find that perfect shirt. It makes you want to withdraw from going to the physical location and go back online to actually, utilize the kind of the benefits of AI. So I think those are some great points. One question I have for you is, I guess, do you see the personalization and the AI impact taking it to the point where I can come in with an idea and they come out with an outfit? Or do you see where, um, let's say I'm going to the beach in Nantucket, do you see where I'm able to put in, beachwear East Coast, and I'm going to have a recommendation for every outfit from morning, night, beach, disco, bar, games, you name it? Do you see that getting to that point, or is it there already?
Oh, it is already there. Because I think the clothes are doing such a phenomenal options even for men. It is not just like a bikini options, but if you say it's a summer wear or if it's a beach retreat, you are going to get selections based on your personal recommendations. But say if somebody does not knows what their personal recommendation is, I think with AI, they can also, question, they will ask you what exactly you're looking for. And they can even share, especially with our own company here, that we can even prod them into saying, hey, you're asking for a floral outfit, but maybe you want a polka dot. Or if it's a guy and he wants a floral Tommy Bahamas shirt, or does he actually is having a beach vacation but wants a solid shirt? Both of these options are going to be available.
That's great. That's great. So, Bharat, you and I have talked many times about kind of AI simulations, that world of augmented reality, super cool stuff. You see it on TV. Meta's come out with things. People are using it for all kind of. I mean, even the medical world starting to get into that space. Being an expert in that world, where do you see the impact of that AI power in fashion, like that virtual try on and fitting, which I think it's one of the coolest features out there. But where do you see AI playing into that?
That's a great question, Kevin. So we've been experimenting and interfacing with virtual tryout hardware and software for about 6 years now. And just right when the whole technology was actually beginning to come out, um, what we realize is that the hardware, the integration, the portability of it is going to continue to improve and get better. And exactly for the points that both you and Anu mentioned, the we realize that the area that will cause more engagement and gaming is going to be in how people actually interact with it. So there's a lot of pleasure in actually trying out different outfits, right? But after you try out, you go and wear 15 or 20 of them, you're going to get tired. With this virtual tryout, it can be almost limitless. You can keep on trying.
I must say here, I think one of the areas where our company can just do phenomenal work is in the bridal wear, because you cannot go and try 100 outfits. It's a pleasurable event if you say, oh, this is the style I want, off shoulder, floral, I want beadwork. And imagine if you're able to try that out with AI, and then it just narrows down your selection. It can be a game changer for brides, especially not just in this country, but all over the world. I think it will be one of the big places that we have to try here. I guess one of the live shows will be in a bridal wear very soon.
There you go. I think we should actually showcase the AI there. And I think from a technology standpoint, the other things, Kevin, is it's just having the personalized recommendations while you're trying things out. I tried this. Um, Initially, I thought I like it, but after I virtually tried it out, I don't really like it. Take me in a different direction. Can the AI react on the spot and say, I'm going to take you in a different way? And those are some of the things we've actually been experimenting with. The other big thing that comes out is sustainability. Like when you have a virtual tryout like this, then the risk of returns and the risk of basically the wastage of fabric goes down because you've had a chance to try it out. You've determined the AI can kind of figure out what's your body size, your body type, and it can make more intelligent recommendations even on that, even if it hasn't seen you before. So just based on what you're working with, the AI can take a guess, or you're looking at these, and then based on that, even affect the virtual tryout. So there's actually a lot of scope to to do everything from engagement to sustainability with the technology.
And that's a very good thing that you mentioned just now. But in sustainability, thank you for bringing that point that, not one bride or not one individual is trying an outfit that 10 other people will be trying. But in sustainability, one of the big things in design, how it all originated, initially it was even people who want to wear silk but do not want to kill those little insects, and they would want to wait till the insect's natural life and use that then to make that fabric. So in the same way, I think to become conscious about what are we trying, and in this day of all these diseases and pandemics, it makes sense to go the sustainable route.
No, I think it's a great point, and I think back to when AI first came into the fashion world, and I forgot what the company name was, but you were able to take your phone, take photos of you, and then it was able to get you a T-shirt that fits. And what I found interesting about that is back then, and when I was going to use the air quotes, but back then was a grand total of 14 months ago or 16 months ago. The accuracy was like 80%. And so what you were doing is you were getting the shirts you want, but it was a little tight here, a little loose there. Nowadays, with AI and the ability to custom fit items via image, I think it's huge, and I think it's really changing. I think it's changing the way people are buying clothes. Also, both of you guys brought up a great point. We think about. I mean, if I say Nordstrom, the first thing you think of is their return policy. They take back everything. Well,
Yes.
when you think about the line item for Nordstrom of returned items, I mean, how about this? So many things have been returned that they came out with Nordstrom Rack a long time ago. Now that's changed, but still, you think about that. With AI, we're going to shorten that gap of number of returns. I mean, it literally changing the retail industry, and I think the fashion industry. So, um, I also one thing that I thought today when I was thinking about this question is it also gives the creativity kind of the creativity freedom to designers, because before I design it and I make it. If it fails, I don't look good. Here I can design it, AI it, people try it on. If they buy it, then it's a win. So which is the biggest softball I can lob up for myself here? So this is towards you, Anu. We're talking about design and creativity. That is, I mean, that I think that's the magical part of the fashion industry. That's the secret sauce. That's what we get excited about, seeing the new releases, the new designs. Where do you see the impact of AI you know on the design world, basically, and the design element that exists in the retail or in the fashion space today?
So, great thought-provoking question, Kevin. So I think AI is not limited just to optimizing logistics and enhancing the customer experience, but it's a powerhouse in fashion industry that you can design something and decide to change it. You don't have to do the entire embroidery. You don't have to actually see the fabric made, but you can actually just see it visually before you actually make something out of it. And in generative design algorithms, we can assist designers to create unique and innovative clothes and designs also. And probably the last point I would like to say in that is that feeding the AI with certain parameters and design elements, designers can receive numerous design variations in matter of minutes. So imagine something that took time, it took months, you have to take a vacation, you have to go to Bali, but now you can create an experience of Bali. You can see what you exactly want to, the creative mood does not has to take you out of your house, right? Unless you do want to go on a vacation, then that's different. But I think time-wise, it is probably the most important revolutions of our time.
Hey, Garada, I realize we got in the wrong world here, because she talks about going to Bali, Paris. You and I talk about going to Oakland, Santa Clara. I think you and I should have became, well, clearly you can tell about where we're not in the fashion world, but you know,
We have a ways to
but
go there, Kevin.
but it's interesting, and one thing that the reason why I wanted to ask this question is one, you are an expert in this space, and I think it's a big thing that's affecting it. But more so, I think what's interesting is I just, I know enough in the Adobe suite to make me dangerous. And they have a new AI feature where you could take an image, and let's say we took an image of Bharat today. We could put a blue coat on him, a red coat. We could put a tie on him, a white shirt in that same pose he's doing right now, which you think about me selecting clothes for an event. Now, rather than go to the store or go online and click and go through tie after tie after tie, AI is bringing that experience of from the consumer side of it. From the design side, I think it opens up that world of just, you have carte blanche now and you come up with the greatest things ever without that fear of having that failure. And I think that's the big, you never want to end up at a clearance center, right? So I think that's where the power of AI is huge.
Kevin, if I could jump in here.
Sure.
So really the way my own understanding of AI has evolved in the last 25 years is there was a time when I believed that the AI can figure out all the, from the data, it can figure out the patterns. But over time, what I've realized is that AI can facilitate a meaningful dialogue between the creator and the consumer. So in the fashion space, it's between the retailer and the consumer. Just like every consumer is different, every retailer is uniquely different. And even within the retailer, there are people that kind of select the items and the brands and that are uniquely different. And they're all trying to say something. And we found that the AI can actually be that conduit rather than for the last 15 or 20 years, it's trying to decide what needs to be done. The AI can be the conduit. And I think that's what facilitates a really meaningful dialogue. Like in the Nordstrom case that you said, that they're okay with everything being returned. Whereas for somebody else, that may be a big deal. So Nordstrom is all about discoverability for their consumers and give them the maximum discoverability and say, we'll take care of what comes out of it. But on the other hand, you may have a retailer that doesn't have that much of a margin for whom they want limited discoverability. So how can the retailer even set up that discoverability with their consumers and say, I'll let you explore 10%, but the other 90% you got to keep buying because that's how I can put new products back on the shelf. So it's facilitating that meaningful dialogue that AI can play a monumental role, and we're just in the early part of that.
And just to add to that point, I think it will apply the same thing even for luxury items. So if it is a Chanel coat, then that is not something that 10 of them that I can take home. I would have to make a selection right over there. So I think what ends up happening with AI is this, that I can see myself in these different looks, but even luxury items will not give that, or luxury brands will not give that, option to their customers.
And I want to add a small thing there, Kevin. So we've seen remarkably different behaviors from in-store fashion AI, fashion shopping to online shopping. The online shopping, we've seen that people want to make a decision typically in about a minute and a half. Some may take weeks. It's not that everybody makes that, but there is a certain emotional decision-making process in the mind that happens in about 90 seconds. So is your online AI ready for that? In the in-store, the AI goes into planogramming and it goes into how everything's located and how easy it is for it to find, how the process of the experience is building in the customer's mind. As you walk into a store, what do you first see? And as you go in, what do you discover? You got to get the feeling that there's a treasure trove here. And I think the AI can help with a lot of that thinking and planning, especially in this fast-moving world.
That's great. So, Bharat, I got a question. Well, I received a question after I think it was not last week's in Palo Alto, but the one before, and it really had to do with the supply chain optimization and the effect of AI. And again, I always throw this disclaimer: we don't do this as a sales pitch by any means, but the question actually asked, how does Unisense and the technology that has been built with Unisense really improve the supply chain optimization for retailers? And can you bring that into kind of, I guess, retailer is fashion, fashion is retailer, but I was trying to figure out how to work it in, and we're having a great conversation about fashion, but I definitely want to be able to field questions that we receive. So if you could talk a little bit about supply chain optimization, and again, because the question actually said this, more importantly, how does the Unisense.tech solution improve sales or supply chain optimization?
Kevin, a huge part of supply chain optimization is getting the products right and the numbers right. And today, one of the things I want to just caution everybody about AI, while we've used it for a long time, there's a caveat to it that the AI, especially a lot of generative AI, is built on collecting all the information on the planet. So if you look at what's interesting, it's already lumped together US data, European data, Asian data, other continents data into a single lump of understanding. And the AI is making decisions off that. So if you completely trust the generative AI process, it'll get you to a fast start, but you're going to make incorrect decision about the trends and the numbers and the things that are going to sell, which is going to impact your supply chain. So it's important, but at the same time, that AI can actually give you proper guidance on what are the trends in your area. And like Anu has actually played a very important role with us, where she's taught us what to look for in terms of, say, summer trends or winter trends, or what are the fashion trends, what are the fall trends, what are the different trends that are coming in, what's real and what isn't, what is going to come in from the European side into the rest of the world, what's going to come in from the Japanese side, what's going to get picked up. Yeah.
And we pay a lot of importance in this company, Kevin, to cultures. And so when we are working with Middle East, we are very sensitive to what is required in style and fashion. They are on top of the world, but with the same token, there are certain sustainability and certain things that we like to work to, that we are culture sensitive around the world. So I think it's very important to be, fashion conscious, but with the same token, like a country like India, we are, the amount of cultures and festivals that we have, we pay attention that what is needed. If it is a festival like Navratri, it's 10 days, whether it's a blue color or green. Somebody living in Mumbai, they might want to wear a traditional outfit. But here in US, if somebody is going to work, but this is important to them, they might want to wear a blue shirt or wear a green shirt the next day. And we honor that, and we have actually trained our system to work on different variations, around the world.
And Kevin, understanding that, right? Understanding what is a festival. So it is temporal, it's only going to be there for a month, versus something I'm going to wear to work, I'm going to wear for the whole year. So the supply chain for one has to produce the products for the whole year. For the other, it has to be there just in time, ready in time. If you're a week late, you missed 30% of the inventory already. So the AI can tremendously help there on the supply chain side. The other thing is also from the back end of a company, who's most likely to give you the things that you want. So if you're sourcing it from multiple places, then is there a risk? Does it take into account what you want in terms of sustainability? The AI can play a role there as well in your compliance and oversight and some of those aspects.
So can the Unisense solution help not only the big guy, but also small retail locations?
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel very, very happy about this because we have some individually owned shops in New Delhi, India. And I believe that the options that we are providing for them It can save them cost. They are going to make a whole lot more money. And the same thing, it applies even over here to the mom and pop shops as well as enterprise companies. I believe that our solution is appropriate for anything that is in e-commerce space.
Yeah, we've got apparel retailers in the US that retail at $2,000 a piece. So we've got there's it's high end and as well as
A
people.
bread line,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And we have retailers in Germany that retail all kinds of items. Just to answer your question in a broader way, we cover all the look and feel categories really well. So we go from apparel, accessories, watches, belts, handbags, even the enormous shoes. Shoes play, are a very big part of this space as well. And we go into even cosmetics, and that's, I think, a subject for another webinar. We go into cosmetics and health and wellness categories as well.
That's great. You know what we'll do? Maybe I'll make sure that we throw a case study up on the website, and people can hear and I guess read about how our technology is helping in those areas. I think that'll be good. So, Ron, you talked a little bit. You kind of jumped ahead of me, which is great. But we talked a little bit about sustainability, and I know that's the hot topic in the fashion world. You can't go in the fashion world and not see made with 100% recycled bottles, hemp, recycled clothing, you name it. Um, how does AI really play into this? Is it are we going that trend because of AI technology, or do you see that we're going to go that trend and no matter what, and AI just kind of helped out on that? I want to throw it to both of you guys, so I don't know who wants to start, but I think it's one of those topics that I find interesting. I think a lot of people would.
Yeah, let me jump in and then I'll hand it over to the expert. So the on the sustainability side, there's so much groundwork being done, Kevin, in all across the world in identifying the sources for apparel, and making sure that the right amount of water and resources and things like that are taken and it's not wasted. So there's an enormous groundwork that's happening across the world, which is, I mean, very, very important. Now, that will only succeed if you have really strong product discovery at the top. Because how else does a consumer find what they're interested in? There's a lot of people that are doing thrift buying these days, but they have to find what they want in the right place. And I think product discovery right now is not leveling the playing field. Um, I think the uh, the introduction of advertising is coloring product discovery and sustainability to a huge extent. And I'm going to come out on a limb and say this is going to disrupt big time in the next couple of years. And if product discovery is good, then if I want to buy a particular kind of fabric that I think is environmentally conscious, then I can easily find it. If not, I have to go to 50 stores to find what I'm interested in, or I have to do so much research in social media to find a place that's going to offer it to me. So I think there is a big role that product discovery can play. And I'm not just saying it because I've lived and breathed it for the last 25 years. I've seen that in the end, the storefront is where the communication happens between all the groundwork and the consumer. So
I
over
think,
to
no, I would just say this, that sustainability is a pressing concern for the fashion industry. And part of the reason is this, that before the cheap labor could have been used in Asia, even to making shoes or to making clothes. But now people are trying to pay a lot of attention as to, how these factories are run, right? That there's no child labor and women or men are paid at least bare minimum wage. This, it is happening even in the technology companies and stuff like that. So when a person says that this is important to them, or a company says and a merchandiser says, so the one who's making the design, so it's like, in that line, it's by the time you see the end product, maybe there are 10 stops along the way, so to speak. And AI is helping to ensure that the fashion brands make informed choices as to where their product is coming from. And you would see even in this current Oscars that a lot of actors are making a point by wearing sustainability gowns, repeating certain gowns that they have worn before, right? So these kind of things are coming now to the fashion forefront.
That's great. Yeah, I think it's huge. I mean, those are. It always just kind of boggles my mind, and it's starting to become a trend and something I pick up on all the time. Where, now I'm actually leaning towards clothes that are recycled. Not I haven't done the thrift thing yet, but if I can find an item that was made with recycled items or products, why not? I mean, we have enough landfills throughout the world to build another, Earth. So I think AI, by bringing that to this element to it, I think it's huge. It's going to even help environmental, which is a big deal. So, Bharat, I have one more question for you, and this was another one that I received uh, via email, but and I find it interesting because I've received a lot of questions on two items, and one of them is, of course, supply chain management, which I think is huge, and the other one is around inventory and sales kind of predictability. And I think that's the crystal ball, right? I mean, we rub the crystal ball and find out how many shirts we need to buy and what are people going to be wearing in June, that type of thing. Uh, I also find it really ironic where they're asking for what are real world examples and how Unisense really was able to help compared to more of the high level discussion that we had before. So I'm going to throw it to you. I really don't know how to ask the question, so I'm going to ask it in kind of a cryptic way, and then you can take it. But you know, how do you see AI impacting, positive or negative, in the area around inventory prediction, sales prediction, and how does Unisense and the solution go into an organization and see positive effects on that? I hope that makes sense, but it made
Yeah,
sense in my mind. So.
yeah, totally, Kevin. I mean, it's a billion-dollar question actually. There's I've seen there's two categories in which we have to think of the of most retailers. One is the folks that have sophisticated systems to plan their inventory and their marketing, and the second is folks that don't. And let's take both those cases. Right? So let me start with the folks that don't have that. So we have several smaller retailers on the Unisense platform, and the challenge for them is they don't have enough repeatable. A lot of their inventory is unique. It's going to last a month and it's gone. So how do they even plan how much to stock? And it may last 3 months and it's gone, but how do they even plan how much to stock for the next quarter? And the AI, the demand forecasting has to be a lot more intelligent. It doesn't just look at the product, but it looks at the why within the product. What are the attributes of this product, and what's the demand at that level? And so we've had a chance to work with a few retailers in two different geographies, where we've actually helped them to understand and to tell them in advance that we don't think that this particular thing is going to sell. Um, it also involves understanding what people are looking for at that time. Things like the search traffic or the social media traffic. Where is that going? Did a new Squid Games launch, and so that kind of apparel becomes very interesting. The one-off events also end up making a difference. So for the smaller folks, it's really more understanding, not so much at the individual product level, but at something more fine-grained than that. For the bigger folks, it's really helping. So the bigger folks have a certain game plan in mind, but it doesn't necessarily translate to the best, to a proper connect between marketing and the warehouse. So what we do is we create, once we know what's in their warehouse at any given point, we create many different channels for those warehouse items to get showcased on their window shop, which is their e-commerce site. It's already sitting in the warehouse, so that's your opportunity cost. So the AI plays a tremendous role in connecting that and getting those products moving. Um, like I love to say, if the conversion rate is 1%, it's not that the other 99 are just coming there to have a good time. They're also coming to buy.
Yeah.
So you got to give them that connection. And and it's not just about showing them something, it's also understanding their response to it, facilitating that dialogue. And that's what the AI does. The moment the AI tries to take the power away from the consumer or from the retailer, it starts worsening the whole system. So facilitating that dialogue is where AI, in my experience, plays the best role. Um, then the other thing is also to look at, historical data. That always is important, but the world's really dynamic right now. So you got to overlay the current market conditions on top of the historical data. And that's become hard for for a human to do, but the human still has the great intuition and ability to look at what the AI is saying and say, look, I know you said sweaters are going to sell, but we're already in March, so they may have sold in March, it's just not going to sell in April. I think last year was much colder than this year. It's getting warmer. I'm not going to go with that. So the human can override it, and and the human also knows that we struck a deal with one of our partners, so we got to sell all their products. That'll give us $1 million jump in our revenues for the week. So those are things that the AI has to be guided on.
I think it's also one thing you talked about before, which is always so amazing to me. It's exciting as the idea of being able to manage your inventory based on the location of your store, based on the warehouse, and bringing the environmental elements of it, the weather, the fashion, the culture, and providing the right material to the right store in the right location. I think that's huge. And I think they used to try and they did a pretty good job, but you would see, you would see a wool sweater in a store in San Diego as you would see the same wool sweater in one in Maine in winter. Well, San Diego doesn't get colder than 71 degrees. So although the wool sweater looks great, you might pass out on the beach wearing it because you'll sweat to death. But I think that's where, and I think the human element was able to get to, I'm going to be generous, 60% around there. And I think AI just enhances that. And now we go back to all the other points we talked about, and it reduced cost, increased efficiency, and you're not going to have those items sitting in San Diego that they're putting the dreaded red tag on of trying to get it off the shelf for summer. So I think those are some great points. And again, I've done it again. So I apologize to everybody online. I've gone over. I'm getting better. It's only 8 minutes over. But I want to close it up, and I want to say, definitely thank you, Anu. I really appreciate you joining two guys talking AI, and thank you, Bharat, of course. I think we've had a great discussion of really the effects of AI in the world of fashion. What we're trying to do is every one of these, we're going to talk about an industry, but we talk about AI and how it impacts, and you're going to start seeing trends, and you're going to start seeing how it affects all these industries from healthcare to fashion. They have their unique attributes, but it's really talking about how the innovation is increasing efficiency, and I think that's the biggest part to take away from it. And I think some of the biggest the points and positive impacts you guys shared today about AI is in the fashion space. It's really that how it enhanced the personalized shopping experience. I think that's huge. Also, I think the virtual try-on, I don't know if that's the right term, but the idea to to be able to try on 100 different outfits, but never changing the shirt, it makes it much more efficient. I think I'm going to get to that decision of what I want to buy a lot faster. And it's going to shorten that sales gap between me searching and me making a purchase with a retailer. This technology continues to advance. I mean, every day, and I laugh because 14 months ago in the AI space, is equivalent of 10 years ago in the automotive space. So, the technology is advancing quick, but I think especially in the fashion world and the technology, it holds such humongous, exciting kind of possibilities. And I think it's really making AI indispensable. And I think that it may sound scary, but it's actually a positive. When you have a technology that becomes indispensable in an industry like fashion, it's going to continue to push the business and the industry forward faster and more advanced than we ever saw before. So, again, I want to thank both of you. This was great. And for everybody online, please sign in next week to our podcast. I believe we're going to be looking at the impact of AI in the grocery industry. However, as we talked about, this is always fluid. And for all we know, Bharat and I might be walking with our cell phones in San Francisco, talking about something else. So thank you again. Thank you both very much. And thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Anu. Thank you for being here.